Hello everyone. This is George from Invensis Learning. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I am sure you guys might have heard of cybersecurity. In today's session, we are going to look into cybersecurity interview questions and their answers. So, without any further delay, let's get started. We will begin this session by discussing a little about market trends in cybersecurity. Next, we will move further on to the interview questions and their answers on cybersecurity. I hope the agenda is clear to you guys. We will now begin the presentation and look into interview questions and their answers on cybersecurity. Let us now see the cybersecurity market trends. After a global cybersecurity market forecast was predicted by Statista.com, it was observed that the global market for cybersecurity is projected to grow from $167.1 billion in 2019 to $248.26 billion by 2023, attaining a 10.4% CAGR. The expenditure on worldwide security on identity access management was at $10.58 billion in 2019. The forecast also predicted that expenditure on security services, the largest chunk of the information security market, also reached $64.24 billion in 2019 as well. The projected regional growth rate of cybersecurity market can be seen here. It clearly indicates the future demand for cybersecurity professionals in the coming years, country-wise. Countries in green have high regional growth. Countries in yellow have medium regional growth. Countries in pink have low regional growth. Let us now see the cybersecurity interview questions. What is cybersecurity and what are the elements of cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is the set of practices used to protect computers, computer servers, mobile devices, various electronic systems, communications and computer networks, and data from malicious attacks and threats. It is also known as information technology security or electronic information security. Major elements of cybersecurity are information security, network security, operational security, application security, and user education. Business continuity planning. Why do we need cybersecurity? It protects the business against hackers or by individuals or group of individuals in launching cyber attacks like ransomware, malware, social engineering, and phishing. It protects the end user's data and confidentiality. It provides robust protection for both data as well as networks. Gives enough time to recover after a security breach. Cybersecurity prevents unauthorized users. What is the CIA Triad Model in cybersecurity? CIA stands for Confidentiality, Integrity, Availability. Confidentiality involves preventing access to data to unauthorized individuals. It ascertains the identity of authorized personnel involved in sharing and holding data secure. Integrity is usually protecting the information from being altered by unauthorized individuals. It denotes that data and programs can be changed by authorized personnel. Availability is ensuring that authorized personnel has access to the data or information when needed. Any data is of high value if the concerned persons have access to it at the required time. What is cryptography? The word crypt means hidden or vault, and the word graphy stands for writing. Cryptography is a popular method used to protect information from third parties called adversaries. It allows the sender and recipient of a message to read its details. What do you mean by a firewall? A firewall is a cybersecurity system designed for the protection of networks. A firewall acts as a boundary of any network or system which controls and monitors network traffic. They are used mostly as protection against unauthorized access, content filtering, remote access, and cyber threats like viruses, malware, and computer worms. What is a brute force attack? How do you prevent it? The brute force method is a trial and error method to find out the right password or login credentials. Hackers make repeated attempts and try all combinations of credentials with some calculated guesswork. Brute force attacks are automated where the software automatically works to log in with credentials. Methods to avoid brute force attacks are setting password length, increase password complexity, set limit on login failures. What is the ISO-OSI model? What are the different layers in this model? ISO is the full form of the International Organization of Standardization. This is an architectural model for Open System Interconnection, OSI, and is generally known as the ISO-OSI model. The ISO-OSI model architecture has 7 layers. 7 different layers of OSI models are as follows: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, Session layer, presentation layer, application layer. Who is a hacker? Who are the different types of hackers? Hacker is an individual or group of individuals who try to gain unauthorized access to information or monetary gains. The three types of hackers are gray hat, white hat, and black hat. Gray hat, they detect the vulnerability and report it to the owner for a fee. If not paid, they make it public. White hat, they are ethical hackers, who help detect system flaws and strengthen cybersecurity. Black hat, they are cybercriminals, who use their expertise to hack systems and deliver cyber attacks. What is pen testing? How is it implemented? Penetration testing or pen testing is a type of security testing performed to assess the capability of the security of the system. The objective of penetration testing is to recognize the vulnerabilities in the system, which includes hardware, software, networks, and system environment. This testing is implemented by analyzing the security level of the system with malicious methods to protect the information from hackers and maintain the proper working of the system. Penetration tester or ethical hacker then tries to test the system by making attempts to violate the security of the system. What are the top 5 reasons for security vulnerabilities? There are 5 reasons mainly for security vulnerabilities. They are complexity, design flaws, user data input, poor system configuration, and unsecured connectivity. What are cyber attacks? What are the most common types of cyber attacks? A cyber attack is an offensive action taken by a hacker or unauthorized individual or a group of individuals who target computer systems, IT infrastructure, computer networks, mobile devices, and other computer devices by using different methods to break into, steal, damage, or alter crucial data and information. The common cyber attacks which can be used by hackers to damage networks: malware, phishing, password attacks, DDoS, man-in-the-middle, drive-by downloads, malvertising, rogue software, ransomware, brute force. What are the elements of network security? Network access control allows the network admin to understand and control who can and cannot access the network. Firewall security decides whether specific traffic in the network has to be blocked or allowed. This is one of the most important elements to maintain protection. Intrusion prevention system is a threat prevention technology that examines, identifies, and prevents unusual network traffic from exploiting vulnerabilities. Security information and event management or SIEM combines security event management and security information management into one composite security management system. What is a computer virus? How does it impact the working of a computer system? A virus is a dangerous software that is executed without the user's permission. Viruses can consume CPU time and memory, which are crucial computer resources. The virus makes changes in other computer programs and inserts its own code to harm the computer system. A computer virus may be used to access personal data like login credentials, display error messages to the user, corrupt data in the computer, log the user's keystrokes. List down the roles and responsibilities of a penetration tester or ethical hacker. Understand computer systems and cybersecurity terminology, collect all data and information needed to deliver penetration tests, conduct testing of critical infrastructure and remote testing of computer networks, work on client requirements after conducting a penetration test, evaluate root causes and suggest solutions in security reviews, create results of pen test reports, and ensure to keep the test results confidential. Can you name some of the tools used as penetration testing tools? Pen testers use penetration testing tools to perform certain tasks automatically and improve the testing procedure. It helps to find security issues that manual methods might not be able to detect. The different tools are Nmap, Nessus, Metasploit, Wireshark, OpenSSL, WiFi. What are the factors to be considered before choosing a pen testing tool? Easy to use and cost-effective, efficient tech support, and documentation, able to generate logs and reports, scan vulnerabilities with ease, categorize based on risk level. Have you heard of the man-in-the-middle attack? If yes, can you please explain what it is? A man-in-the-middle cyber attack or METM attack occurs when the hacker places himself in between the client and the owner or between users and the server or between clients and server to misinform the client and get unauthorized access of data and information from the system. In this attack, The hacker breaks the communication link between the user and the server. All data and information transfer of both the user and the server goes through the hacker. This gives the hacker unsolicited access to complete information of the whole system. This gives the hacker complete control over the whole system, the data involved, and the processes involved in it. What are DOS and DDoS attacks? Explain in detail. Error 404 reflects when a web page doesn't load, the website is down, or there's a lot of traffic on the website. It is detrimental to the profits of the organization. This happens when the number of users on the website on that page exceeds the limit the website can handle. Once it exceeds, the page is down, and the users get this error. In a client-server communication system, there are 3-level handshakes before the data from the server is transferred to the client system. The first handshake is the client's request to the server to load the web page or any result or any content. The second handshake is where the server approves the client's request, gets ready to load, and asks the client device when to load. In the third handshake, the first device acknowledges, and the server loads the request. DOS attack stands for denial of service attack. DDoS stands for distributed denial of service attack. In DOS attack, the fake requests are made by the same device to overwhelm the website, causing to crash. In DDoS attack, a big network of devices creates a large number of fake requests and together request the server at the same time. What are the steps you would take in case of a real-time cyber attack? First, take the help of a set of forensic resources which would enable to quickly research for any issues. Once the cause of the issue gets identified, the first action is to restrict any damage. Then provide immediate workarounds or a solution or fix so that any threat is taken care of immediately. Then proactively look for any threats by monitoring any unusual activity or access attempts. White hat. What are the types of penetration testing? Black box penetration testing. Black hat hackers try to break into the system. They use the trial and error method to force into the system as they don't have system credentials. White box penetration testing. Ethical hackers assess system security and give suggestions for improvements. They have complete data and can give better results and in less time than black box testing. Gray box penetration testing. Gray hat hackers also illegally break into the system. They give their findings to the owner to point out the flaws in the system. What is SSL? What is its importance in cybersecurity? SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer. SSL technology helps in creating encrypted connections between a web browser and a web server. It ensures data privacy by protecting the information in online transactions and digital payments. What are web-based and system-based attacks? Name a few examples for each. Web-based attacks. Hackers take advantage of weaknesses and vulnerabilities in system code to obtain unauthorized access to a database or server. System-based attacks. These attacks are launched by hackers to take unauthorized control over a computer or computer network to gain access. Web-based attacks are 1. Dictionary attacks, 2. Denial of service, 3. DNS spoofing, 4. Brute force, 5. Phishing, and 6. SQL injection attacks. System-based attacks are virus, backdoors, bots, worm. What is social engineering? What are the types of social engineering? Social engineering is the psychological manipulation of users. This can also occur when someone is convinced to reveal their confidential information. 3 types of social engineering attacks are mainly 1. Computer-based, 2. Mobile-based, and 3. Human-based. Human-based attack. When a hacker pretends to be a genuine user by requesting higher authority to reveal confidential and crucial information of the organization. Computer-based attack. In this attack, attackers send fake emails to harm the computer. They ask people to forward such emails. Mobile-based attack. The hacker may send SMS to others and collect important information. If any user downloads an app, then it can be misused to access confidential information. What is a computer worm? How is it different from a virus? A worm is a type of malware that replicates itself and spreads from one computer to another. The differences between a computer virus and a computer worm are, it inserts malicious code into a specific file or program, it generates its duplicate copy and spreads using email client, they need a host program to function, they do not need any host to work correctly, it can be linked with COM, XLS, EXE, doc, etc. It can be linked with any file on a network, it spreads slower than a worm, it spreads faster than a virus. What is a honeypot? What are its types? A computer system that acts like a decoy and records all user transactions, interactions, and actions is called a honeypot. Honeypot is divided into two categories. 1. Research honeypot and 2. Production honeypot. Research honeypot. It is used by research and educational organizations and institutions for the purpose of understanding and researching the motives and tactics of hackers who target different networks to gain unauthorized access. Production honeypot. Production honeypot is used to gather real-time information for the administrator to access security weaknesses and vulnerabilities. To increase network security, they are generally placed inside production networks. What are the types of non-physical threats? The types of non-physical threats are Trojans, worms, denial of service attacks, adware, spyware, distributed denial of service attacks, virus, keyloggers, unauthorized access, and phishing. What are accidental threats? They are threats that are accidentally done by organization employees. In these threats, an employee unintentionally deletes any file or share confidential data with outsiders or a business partner going beyond the policy of the company. How would you find out where a breakdown in a network communication is? Depending on the operating system, Tracer or Traceroute helps to find out the locations of routers that come along the chain connections till the final destination is reached. If you cannot reach the final destination or cannot connect, then the Traceroute can suggest exactly where the chain of connection stops. This information can be used to know if it's your own firewall, some issue in the middle, your ISP, or your destination's ISP that's causing the issue. What is a backdoor? What is the 80-20 rule of networking? Backdoor is malware in which a security system is bypassed to access the system. This is done to have unauthorized access to user credentials and confidential information. The 80-20 rule is based on the percentage of network traffic, in which 80% of all network traffic should remain local while the rest of the traffic should be routed towards a permanent VPN. What is the difference between security testing and security scanning? Security testing is one of the main types of software testing that ensures that all security applications and software systems and other applications are free from any hackers or security vulnerabilities, threats, risks, or cyber threats. Security scanning is a method that identifies any network or system weaknesses and vulnerabilities and later provides resolutions to reduce these risks with provision for testing. What is session hijacking? Name the various methods of session hijacking. TCP session hijacking is the unethical use of a valid computer session. IP spoofing is the most common method of session hijacking. In this method, attackers use IP packets to insert a command between two nodes of the network. Various methods of session hijacking are using packet sniffers, cross-site scripting, XSS attack, IP spoofing, blind attack. What is a Trojan Horse? How does it get executed? A Trojan Horse or a Trojan is a malware program designed by hackers to break into electronic and digital devices by disguising the program as necessary software. This type of cyber attack is quite dangerous as it helps the hackers to have unauthorized access to crucial information of users, such as their credentials and financial details. What is SQL injection? How is it implemented as a threat? SQL injection includes incorporating malicious data into the user's digital device to enable the hacker to give unauthorized access to all the crucial and confidential information belonging to the user. It uses the design flaws to exploit SQL statements and execute malicious SQL code in poorly designed web applications. A hacker can use SQL injection to escalate it to perform other cyber attacks. What is network sniffing? How is it implemented? Whenever data packets are being sent over a network, network sniffing is used as a tool to analyze these packets. To implement this, specialized hardware equipment or software program has to be used. Sniffing can be used to capture sensitive data such as passwords, eavesdrop on chat messages, monitor data package over a network. What are the types of sniffing attacks? Various types of sniffing attacks are protocol sniffing, web password sniffing, application level sniffing, TCP session stealing, LAN sniffing, ARP sniffing. What is a Cipher algorithm? What do you know about stream and block Cipher? Cipher algorithm is used to protect email, credit card information, and corporate data. Stream Cipher. It functions on small plain text units. It requires less code. Key is used only once. Secure socket layer SSL. It is used to implement hardware. Block cipher. It functions on large data blocks. It requires more code. Reuse of key as possible. File encryption and database. It is used to implement software. What is WEP cracking? Name the various WEP cracking tools. WEP cracking is a method used for a security breach in wireless networks. There are two types of WEP cracking, 1. Active cracking, and 2. Passive cracking. WEP cracking tools are AirCrack, WebDecrypt, Kismet, WepCrack. What is data encryption? Data encryption is used as a method in which the sender converts a message into a code. This method helps only authorized users to have access to confidential and critical information and data. What is the difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption? Symmetric encryption needs only the same key for encryption and decryption. Asymmetric encryption needs two different keys, one for encryption and the other for decryption. Why do you need SSH from a Windows PC? The SSH is the TCP port 22 and is a safe connection that can be used on various devices and systems. This can be used to protect the system against eavesdropping attacks by channeling routers, SFTP servers, switches, and any vulnerable programs through this port, SSH. This is mostly not done on Windows systems but implemented by SSH protocol on a wide variety of systems called SSHing into a box that involves Linux. For Windows users, programs like FileZilla and PuTTY, for instance, have Windows ports available and supports ease-of-use connectivity on par with Linux users. How would you reset a password-protected BIOS configuration? BIOS is superseded by the UEFI, and this configuration is mostly followed by various systems and how the settings in storage are kept in place. BIOS is a pre-boot system and has its own set of settings and preferences. First method is to simply remove the CMOS battery, which results in the system losing its memory storage. The second method is to use on the motherboard a jumper switch or a physical switch. The third method is to use the password if the BIOS has default password enabled from the factory. What is cross-site scripting? Cross-site scripting is the incorporation of malicious scripts into websites that causes a network security vulnerability. This is a type of cyber attack that occurs when hackers allow an untrusted source to include code into any web application. What are the steps to make the user authentication process more secure? The key steps to authenticate users are: user has to provide his or her identity. The user ID and key should be used to confirm user identity. This is the ideal way of how a system should give authorization to the user. What are the risks associated with public Wi-Fi? Public Wi-Fi has many cybersecurity vulnerabilities and issues. Wi-Fi attacks include sniffing, brute force attack, war driving karma attack, etc. Public Wi-Fi may recognize data that gets passed through any electronic device on the network like credit or debit card information, emails and email credentials, browsing history, passwords, and confidential information. What is a remote desktop protocol? RDP or Remote Desktop Protocol provides a graphic user interface or GUI over a network to connect two devices. Remote Desktop Protocol is generally used to access computers and applications virtually present over a network for remote management. The user must run the RDP client software to have remote management and access, while the other devices must use the RDP server software. Explain the concept of IV and encryption. IV is the abbreviation for initial vector and int is an arbitrary number. Initial vector is used to ensure that similar text is encrypted to different ciphertexts. This is a unique number and the encryption program can use this number only once per session. What is the best way to configure a network to allow a single computer on a particular jack? The best way to achieve this is by using sticky ports. These ports allow a network admin to set up the network so that each port on a switch allows only one computer to be connected to that particular port. It achieves this by locking the computer to a designated MAC address. If any other computer tries to plug in or gain access to that port, the port shuts down, and the user receives a call that they cannot connect anymore. What is IP and MAC address? The IP address is the abbreviation of an Internet Protocol address. The Internet Protocol address can be used to identify any device or computer uniquely over a computer network like printers and at any storage disks. MAC address is the abbreviation of Media Access Control Address. The media access control address is used to identify any network interfaces for communication present in the physical layer of the network. What is the best response when you see a user logging in as root to perform basic functions? A Linux admin account, also called as root, has more powers and permissions over a standard user. It is also not always necessary to log in as root to perform basic tasks, as standard user permissions would suffice for such tasks. The best way to handle this is to reduce the permitted time for any individual to be logged in as root. By regulating the time, we can control the probability of things going wrong, either intentionally or accidentally. What are the key indicators that suggest your company's network might be hacked? 1. Unknown requests for login. 2. Drastic increase in help requests. 3. Slowdown of computer and network operations. 4. Suspicious emails from various senders. 5. Irregularities in system and network login attempts. 6. Unusual increase in network traffic. 7. Messages for ransom in return for access. 8. Strange messages from trusted contacts. 9. Multiple attempts on non-standard firewall ports. 10. Unusual increase of attempts to connect within your network and domain.